Hello. So this video is about just going through S.U.S from my album on VX1. It's a song that I wrote pretty quickly, I think. I kind of it kind of I don't have a lot of like background into like how I wrote it because it all just kind of went whoosh and it was all there. Um, but I'll walk through like a couple of the early versions of this and then go through the actual session and kind of show kind of some of the ideas that went into it. So first I'll show you just some early versions. Like a lot of my songwriting, a lot of it starts with some kind of either just for like a electronic session. Basically the ones that I don't just come up with while I'm walking, I kind of come up with at the computer usually. So that's the case with this one. I'll just play like an early version of that. So the ideas were already basically there already from the beginning.
How could you tell? How did you hear my steps?
But then essentially like in a little the only thing that came later really was songwriting wise was the second like half of the song. And you'll kind of hear it in the like that bass line stuff and all and how everything kind of layers on top of each other. That layering all comes later. From the actual like songwriting part of it, a lot of the song was really inspired by just an alternating time signature. I just wanted to try and write something in an alternating time signature. So if you count the beats, you'll hear it 2 beats of 3 and 2 beats of 4. So you'll hear or two measures 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. And so on so on. I wanted to kind of make it try to write something in that kind of time signature, but kind of make it more like danceable and stuff at the same time. So I kind of wanted to make it feel simple, even though it's in this different time signature. And let's see. Oh yeah, and yes, the name S.U.S is I came up with the name like from like Among Us stuff, but the song itself wasn't inspired by the game. This song came first. I just came up with the name like way later. Um, um, but yeah, so I guess now we'll just look through the session because there's really like not that much that went into the songwriting. It's because it's a very layered kind of song. And so I just came up with the beat, came up with some of like the background stuff while doing it, kind of layered it on top of each other, wrote some lyrics on top, and it was really like mostly came together in like a couple days. So yeah, let's go through it. As with a lot of my other sessions, you'll see like all this percussion stuff up in the front, followed by usually the bass here, and then either like some leads or some other like vocal parts all the way down to the bottom. Some things that you'll notice that the coloring here. This is the session I had as I was bouncing it, so a lot of these are like already cut together and it took the best takes of everything. These green ones basically are signifying that it was kind of generated, because these are made from these. I unmuted these ones, but same thing basically. But essentially, I've got these MIDI tracks that I've made from my own sounds. So again, you'll hear these. Oh, this is muted, so you can't hear it, but. These are just a bunch of sounds that I've made, and these are kind of like the best versions of these sounds that I've made. And there's usually two sounds, and they're hard panned to the left and right. I don't know how. Yeah, you can kind of see some of the samples, but and then also for this song, and this song I did not have any uh, like spit track or like kind of overhead kind of things where I just beatbox through the whole song because I wanted this to really feel kind of more like an electronic song than any kind of vocal song. And so you'll see that in here. These are all bounced, so these are like audio tracks as opposed to um, this MIDI track. These blue ones I did record, and these are usually just because they're either things that are a little bit more longer phrases that I wanted to use, or something, or like one-offs. So you'll hear those if we go through and listen to some of that. Usually I'll have, yeah, this sub kick is just, let's see, sub kick. I think I just pitched it down a lot and maybe put a, I think I just pitched it down mostly and put like a little filter on it or whatnot. Most of this other stuff is fairly raw, just because I didn't mix this album again. I just kind of recorded everything and wrote everything. So a lot of that stuff I didn't necessarily take a lot of time to affect. Some of them I have like effects or whatever that I didn't freeze onto the tracks when I passed them off. So it was just for my listening. Yep, but yeah, so the percussion is pretty straightforward. Oh, and I think I made the measure size 14.4 just for, it just makes it easier to go through. But it is 2 beats of, or 2 measures of 3 and 2 measures of 4. Let's see. So, oh yeah, and so for these pads that kind of go through the whole song, we can listen to that real quick. These are the other ones. I kind of did the same kind of thing that I usually do with percussion. I just made these sounds and attached them to MIDI notes so I can move them around. And there's essentially 2 pads here. There's the whistle pad, which is just whistles. And then we've got the O pad. And essentially, if you look at here, the sounds that I'm actually making for these, you'll notice that I cut off the beginning, and I wanted to, again, that was kind of to make it sound more electronic. So when you hear it, you kind of, without that attack from the voice that's usually there, it kind of shifts your mindset, I guess, and makes it feel less like a voice, which is kind of what I was going for. Yeah, and it also makes it super, super clean. Like it just sounds like it's a tick, tick, tick. So those kind of carry the most of the beginning of the song. That and obviously like the beat. Actually, it's the only thing that's going on, isn't it? Yeah. And then everything's just like the lead, right? The lead, I have 3 leads. There's
How could you tell? How could you guess from
dub is just kind of filling it in a little bit more, a little bit, and then we've got the phone dub thing. This is again with a lot of my vocals that are not leads or not like things that I want a single one. I'll usually record 2 separate tracks and hard pan them to the left and right. So these are 2 takes. I call this phone lead dub 7 because I recorded this on my like phone thing that I kind of put together. It's just an old phone. Oh yeah, the funny thing about this phone is that when I was doing it, like first I was doing it through the microphone of the phone, but it sounded too good, so I kind of just wired it through. So this is kind of through the earpiece of the old phone. So that's what that sound. That's why it sounds kind of like muffled and whatnot. Which is kind of what I was going for.
How could you tell?
Together it kind of feels like. And this is another one of those leads where like there's a couple other songs that I don't remember the names of the songs anymore. But a couple of the other songs, like these vocals are basically whispered into the microphone. Like I'm very close to the microphone and singing very quiet to get these vocals. This is not a very like, it sounds a lot louder here because I just am close and have it turned up a lot. I did not sing that very loud. Let's see. And then mostly like the harmonies are kind of what you'd expect. They're just kind of chords and stuff.
Run away, babe, home. Run away, babe, home.
rhythmic pads. I don't remember. Oh, this is just sort of like some generic da 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 da's or something like that. I don't remember what it was exactly, but these are pretty. These are just filling up space. Yeah, so that's pretty straightforward, I think, when you fill it in space. You're also hearing a lot of this nonsense stuff. So basically, those pads kind of keep it in rhythm, and kind of keep the energy up. I wanted to make it sound a bit different from that original verse. And then also these in the back to fill up space. I have these extra like little pads, so you can hear like a single one. And a lot of that was yeah, I'm just trying to make it sound like it's almost like something going in reverse, and then I reverse the reverse of it here. It's basically just to fill up space, though. It's like kind of stuff. And if you do like a bunch of them, then like stuff just sounds weird. But I'm just filling up space in the background. Otherwise, to give it a different feel from the first verse. Yeah. And it doesn't sound as good in here when it's not in mix. So usually, actually, like in the past when I've been trying to listen to them a bit more, I'd turn it way down. Yeah, this is already kind of down, but I'd even turn it down more than that, probably. Oh yeah, so then we've got the E pads here, and then the E delay pads is what I was calling them. Oops. So the E pads are, oh shoot, what am I doing? It's just another extra melody line. And a lot of that same kind of stuff where, as opposed to the other parts where I was cutting it off at the attack of the note. So, in those pads here, sometimes I would try to cut off stuff at the very end too. I don't know if I did it electronically in this case. Oops, wrong one. Or whether I did it just with my voice and try to cut off real quick. Yeah, I just cut off real quick, but I try to keep a lot of the entrances and exits in this song super, super clean, just to make it feel a little bit more odd. And I wouldn't be surprised if I did like some gating on some of those as well. Let's see. And then, yeah, so then the rest of the song is, the rest of the interesting stuff is really just along that groove at the end, which is probably my favorite groove on the whole album. I just like it. And a lot of that is driven, obviously, by that glitch pad here. And kind of the bass tracks along with this as well. But if you listen to that. And there's two things going on here. One that you probably already hear is that cutoff stuff again. This time I'm definitely cutting it off digitally. And you can kind of see those in here where I just basically just like did that with a bunch of these. So yeah. So I kind of want to just make like rhythms from the pads. But yeah, so I just sang this, and then I just cut them, right? And the other thing is I have a little bit of pitch shifting happening, especially at the beginning of the phrase. You'll hear that pretty easily. And then the bass is kind of tracking with that. And of course, with a lot of my other songs as well, you'll hear that I'm not very bassy. so a lot of effects help with that kind of stuff. And a lot of pitch shifting stuff. Yeah, but yeah, so I used a lot of digital help getting that bass line to get in pitch in the right place. Those harmonies are basically the same as up there. It's just some kind of fun like things to fill in. And then the last thing is this melody line, just runaway melody line, which is kind of like I really wanted this to kind of float over the rest of the rhythm, so it doesn't go at the same pace as the rest of the song. Yeah, so I mean, if it floats around over like two phrases, and it's kind of like a floating melody line, kind of like has some like makes some rhythmic variation in there. And then you'll notice what I wanted to do is kind of use these other two tracks. They basically start off as doubles, which I have throughout like things with like my hard pan left and right, and I kind of wanted it to phase out until it turns into a delay. So you'll kind of hear that as we go through it, where it starts off in the same spot and it kind of goes, and I did that just by stretching them. But yeah, that's basically the whole song. That's pretty much everything that went into it. Yeah, I guess we'll listen to it one time without all the delays and effects on it, and just kind of so you can kind of hear what it sounds like a bit raw. And that's it, I guess. Yeah. Oh, there's a long break at the beginning because the time signature. That's weird.
How could you tell? How could you guess from this? How could you see? How could you find me? How could you tell? How did you hear myself? How could you tell? How could you tell? Run away.